So it's been a while since I done a vlog for this channel. Been kind of busy. So what we are going to be working into this time around is we are trying to create a holdings company, and it's like a parent company. Uh, the company that sits above all other companies that you might have a stake in or you might own. So we started doing that when we were practicing code. So if you've been keeping up, I probably told you how I got started. And so from there, we were just building individual, kind of programs for different kind of applications, whatever they may have been. And in the process in doing so, we were able to uh, we were able to um, bring them together to actually build an ecosystem. And for that to uh, have been successful, we had to run those through a web service. So we were able to get them to a web service. The thing is the web service is kind of a huge deal. It's like a big deal because it's what you need to put things online. Outside of that, it's outside of that, it's uh, sorry, make some minor adjustments. Outside of that, it's a massive tool that's just the same as your um, repository accounts or system or service. So uh, we were building a gaming app because we were trying to do something to uh, hustle up some cash, but or some income. Um, but instead, we ended up doing something that was more along the lines of what we were already doing, which was creating a startup. So, in place of that, uh, I kept working with it, and it was um, a task lighter. Um, so the gaming app was for to develop, extra things on games. Like if I wanted to put this car in the background on like Gran Turismo, then that's what I was building. I was building the, like a surprise car, or like if it was like a different game, it would be like a suit, or a sports game, probably some plays, or a booster or something like that. So we were already building these things with prompt engineering. That's coding in AI, telling AI to build the codes, not like codecs where you have your editor right there. I was using like Copilot, like my side panel, working along with creating the prompts, which means you got to do research. Like you got to do a lot of research. This is so you know how to ask your computer, your AI, what you want to give you what you want. Like you can say you want to do a game with like a dog race. You'll say I want to build a game that's a dog race, and it's like track and field from Nintendo and Super Mario Brothers, and your AI will build it. But the difference is like with research, now with games, they're more detailed. So you have to tell your game builder that, and your game builder is like either your AI or using Gemini, or if you're going to use Codex. But I use the side panels and stuff first because it's more conversational. So when we were doing that, we came across how it works, because I was building the app and I was trying to API it because I heard a while back, a couple of years ago, to build a game, to add stuff to games, all you need is an API. But for some reason, they said that they don't do that anymore. That it's only, you have to get in, you have to pitch to the gaming companies that build the games. And I believe it's an accepting thing, or it might be something cool where they just don't care because, I was building an app for it. So it was a gaming app. So it would have been in the app stores, the extent of it being on PlayStation or Xbox. I guess it would either have to be really good or it would have to be a pitch. So, but still, you can put your app on your or Google Play or Microsoft, or whatever computer you have. You can put your game or your app on any app store, but particular consoles and stuff, I think you need to go through the actual gaming or the console or the architecture company or company that builds it. So we were doing that, and it says that I had to go through the gaming company. So that was good because um, like the only test I would run is if are the tests that my codes are correct. Uh, they work with my web service. They work with the app. Just making sure everything works. And then the gaming company likes it, or the demo or whatever it is that gets across to them. They would ask to use your API for your repository account, and from there um, they would inject the codes into the games, or inject the app into the games, or this hardware, the gaming console, or the network, whatever it is, and the app would have been accessible from players just online or wherever they were. So we reached out to a potential co-founder so that I can license everything and pitch it to VCs. So that's how that second account was created, the second version control account. The first one with the ecosystem, um, that's on one account. But this gaming I was building, I put it on another account because I came across this app or this code builder called Replit. So um, I wanted to build the game on there, but first I wanted to write the code. So I found another one called Devin. So I installed both of them. So far I use Devin, Replit, Codex, and Warp. So I was running them from Devin to push to the new version control that I have. And while doing that, I uh, kind of stopped working on it because got into some LinkedIn learning courses. So I was in the process of trying to find work. So I wanted to finish the courses, but at the same time, I had the potential of having a gaming app at one end. So I said, I don't know, am I going to watch the gaming app or am I going to do the gaming app or am I going to do the classroom? So I tried to do the classroom and I put too much time into one thing because I wanted that one more than any other one. So it was a Microsoft course. So I was taking a Microsoft course, a software course, a GitHub course, and an AI course. So I wanted my Microsoft more because I didn't want to do software, the others because, well, I didn't want to get stuck in the field with just the certs that I had. I mean, it would have been cool to do intern, but with the Microsoft, I can just do entry level admin like customer service or something. Just because I only needed enough to pay for transitioning, which is the rest of my LinkedIn learning courses and my college courses. Like all of the miscellaneous stuff that I don't apply now, like new clothes and like a car and stuff like that. Because I was doing that, but I got into the startup thing. So from what I'm looking at, the odds are worth millions. Like, and that's just in one round. So the research that I was reading on how to spend your money, what to do with it, I mean, I had to stay put. So I had to make a choice if I would, accept the humiliation and learn or change my lifestyle and advance and then gain social life and a new lifestyle where I take away time from investing in something where you're even gambling with yourself because you build a company, you put it up for shares and things, you can not do so well and you'll lose your company. But if you have a really good company to yourself and maybe to others, and then your company's successful, then you will make all the money by bringing in what you bringing to the table what you were bringing in. So like this car company in the back. Like, this is all mine. I mean, if I make it a startup and want to do shares, I can have a bunch of people rush in and I could lose out. But, with this being in a post Genesis state, meaning everything after the startup, I would already have enough money accumulated to build everything myself. So that's a lot of the things that are with mega manufacturing. So I also have to make a decision if I want to make them to where they can be mass produced or if I just want to use them for, selected buyers. So the thing with having them mass produced, I think that, that gets more into federal kind of law protocol and I'm not sure, but still, I mean, the reason is because I was trying to exchange the technology for them, quantum systems, just all digital things. Just basically, using a different way of computing. So while we do that, anyway, back to what I was saying. So. I had already got up a few repos, and then I said, well, we finished our pitch because we started working on this agentic. So for our ecosystem, we didn't have a C-suite. We didn't have a board. We didn't have a table. But as an ecosystem, as an investment thing, it's a store, a meme store, is a quantum search engine, is AR wearables, glasses, smartwatches, linking YouTube. And so the one thing it didn't have was like, the actual governance or the business side where, if I was successful with it and I carry over into corporate, then who's sitting at the table? Of course, I'm sitting at the table, but we started looking at these courses on agentic, and I watch how they're trying to slowly introduce agentic AI to actually run companies. So far you see robots like you watch Amazon and things like that, but now it's like, but you have to, when you're a business owner, you have to trust things. So not too many would put their trust in actual agentic and AI running their business. So, but we were like, so if you don't have my, so I also watch a bunch of YouTubes and stuff. So right now I'm watching one on the blockchain. So, what major part of my ecosystem is the blockchain. So it's like crypto and trading and things like that. So like, I'll swear, like I was watching it today and it was like some fat guy like standing there, like they were like actually inside of my codes. Like they were looking at my files like they stole it or something, because I'm looking at the blockchain guy and I'm reciting my codes in my head, because there's synthesis, there's synthetic program of the USDE, like as the digital US dollar or electric currency, or I forget what it's called. But so I got into it, buying into it in crypto, and the whole time I'm watching this professor talk about the blockchain, and he's saying words that I'm familiar with, meaning reciting my code, and I'm sitting there looking at him like getting a fresh start, like in aura, and all of a sudden it's like I'm battling someone for something I built. I'm like watching the course like laid back. I was like, so it's like this weight, and I was like, so now I have to um do some more uh diagnostics so I can figure it out and send it to FBI, send it to the FBI, white collar stuff. But so that's inside of the um, ecosystem. So what that is I write smart contracts to give me money, and where lies the agentic, the C-suite, the corporate. So I've already given myself money. So I was building the agentic to run the whole thing where I don't have to do the startup. I can just be like, and tell it run the whole thing, and it just be me, my agentic company. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the sole purpose, sole principle. But we are swallowing in a country where there's corruption and there's just robbery. I mean, you would think, somewhere like, you go to like traps or hoods or the burbs even, and you get robbery and stealing and all of these crime, death, murder. So I went to school and got to the corporate side, and the threats are just the same. So, um, you know, I just don't, I don't really get along with anything because I'm from the zone, and it's like, you're being hit over the head to try to be correct, where the other side that they're telling you, are those things, and you get over there, and you know, there it's like you're being bullied because of either the color of your skin or for something that you have, but you have to keep going over there because, I mean, you know, it's on a teeter totter. So it could be you and it's going up and down and you get through, you break through. And, you know, a lot of that just really you don't come to grasp with if you're like in your first cycle of life. So if you're like high school, then you go over to college and you get all the things passing through. But those are more likely the ones that are like I battle with. But you know, they're not playing with the amount of money, so you know, they get mischievous. I mean, you can just see it. And so a lot of them that are actually in that world, even they look a little mischievous, but you know, I don't care because you know, Video is trying to get $500 billion. So, you know, you gotta watch who's watching that. You know, $500 billion, like, you know, Video. So I can tell you whatever I want with $500 billion, but can he? So, you know, I don't pay attention to all that. So while sitting back, seeing that, you know, I've generated this and using my C-suite, we went ahead and built it. This was just spontaneous. We built it and we moved it over to the same repo we put our gaming app in. So we actually built a replica of it and a prototype. And uh, doing that, I didn't add that in the description. So we'll do it. We'll put it in the comments. We'll put our pitch in the comments, and if you read through it, you'll get to the prototype. That's the online agentic tool. So what we're doing now is from that so when we built that, we were trying to put that in a startup. So we built a pitch for donations to go with the Zen business. That's like, you know, a fast way of licensing your business and then go through business banking. But we were solely trying to build up donations from it. And so we didn't promote the pitch as much as we wanted to because, like I said, well, from the start where we were doing the Microsoft thing from earlier before, we were taking the course because, you know, it was entry level admin. So I was like, we get this, we don't have to worry too heavily on the software, AI, but we get to the Microsoft one, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm working through the whole thing. I'm looking at the video, pressing rewind, hour in, day in, a week and 2 weeks past. I was watching my software, and you know, at the same extent, but I put more into the Microsoft one because I thought I saw the exam at the bottom. I thought it said take exam or something like that. So I go through the whole thing and you know, there's an exam for the PowerPoint one, and then the Teams one is 3 hours. So I watch that, and then the Outlook one is last, and then I get through with all of them, watching them, taking the exam, studying. They got quizzes in them, and I get to the end of it, and it says, uh, um, uh, get your certificate or download certificate or something like that. I'm like, where's my exam? You know, because I was 100% sure I was going to pass it. But, you know, I felt robbed. Like, you know, some intentional person like hacked my LinkedIn and took the exam out. Where it's more reputable, like if you put it on a resume and stuff. But I got an online tech port, so if that was the case, you know, I'm not really stressing that because I use anonymity for like the image that's on the homepage. So, you know, that's just a little bit too low to go down if I were to be like, you know, man, somebody hacked my LinkedIn. But I am in IT database, so, and using transparency, I'm suggestive. So, it's just like, you know, being able to broadcast and, you know, others that may come across it might have some incentive to how I should go about it. So, but again, this is transparency. And so when I had changed from the uh, so when I had changed from the Microsoft one, because I just got a certificate, I tried to go back to my software one and pass those. I got a 52 the first time, but I didn't study. I got a 50 the second time, I did study. So I didn't take the third one because you only get 3 tries, and after your third try, you have to wait a year. So, but I didn't get through the final course, like the whole thing. So that was premature. Neither did GitHub. And I got through the AI, but they changed the last course on there. So, but I didn't bother with those. And I got the full Microsoft one. And I passed the software exam, the first one in there. I got a 70 or I got an 80 something, 82, I think, or 87 or something, 86 or 84 on the first time around, and or 85, I don't know. And then the second time I got 100. So they gave me all of my certificates for that one. So I got a comp TIA for that one. Then my PowerPoint one, I got a CP QAS. That's a self-taught learning kind of thing. I have a CP QAS for AI. That's another self-taught one. But my Microsoft one just has the LinkedIn Learning stamp, and it has learning path, completed learning path. So I put those on my website, my personal website. And so the pitch was, typically to pitch for donations, get the license, and then go for a startup. We found one off of King Street, Virginia, Columbia Capital. So we were going to go there because at the same time, the pitch is similar to a business plan, but it's sort of like, uh, designed into like pre-seed level, but that was just to get small funding. In a way, it was looking at it backwards because it's what you're valued and that's how it goes. So I guess at the state that I would be in now would be pre-seed instead of the full-blown project where it would be a series rounds which are in the tens of millions and hundreds of millions. So we didn't actually finish all of that. We didn't, you need to do things for that, run tests and stuff like that. But those were the two separate ones. So we were gonna plug up the one that we have the ecosystem into the C-suite orchestration tool that I made, and just to run it because it's still another side to it, using it, making sure your pipelines and your data, all of that stuff, so you can use it so you can have something to show other companies that you want to do partnerships with. And then in this way, you can jump ahead of your competition if someone else is trying to partner with them and they have to make a choice. So what I'm doing, I'm, running that. So I was, trying to build this kinetic. With the so we have to bring over our kinetic ledger, but I was watching this YouTuber Gazzy, and she already was doing it. It was leave your art in my corner of the internet or my own little corner of the internet or something. And she was doing an art thing. I was doing an etch a sketch kind of thing, like tag here, it'll be on the web. But where when I watched hers, I was just like, that might just be a little smaller than I expected, because I was going to use the traffic that I got, the analytics and things like that, to use with Nokia's new networking, AI networking product. Um, and I was gonna put that on the Lexus, like the Huawei, the new Chinese car, the Huawei Stellato. Says something like you can project actual movie from the headlights on a wall. It was talking about the technology that they put into it, and it's about the price of the whole car is about the price of a M3. So I was trying to get to Lexus to use it to, because I was watching these cars that they're making. And I don't know, man, Lexus in the future, I mean, you already know Lexus is a luxury car. And you've seen if you keep up with them, you see the electric car they just made. So what I was going to use for that was, the same simple data because I was going to put the kinetic ledger in there along with the GPS. So, like if you got a little girl or something, you would be able to turn on the kinetic ledger on the windshield in front of them, and they would just like tag on the Etch a Sketch, like using their phone, like because the triggers would be on the phone, and like you're playing your video game on the phone or something, and it would just tag, so they just be in the uh, passenger seat tagging the internet. But at the same time, I was going to put it on the car, and you turn the kinetic ledger on because the blockchain is huge. So it would just tag your route. You would just be going everywhere. You'd be drawing like Pac-Man. But that data, it would be good for Lexus. You can tell how the ride went, and you tag it on the blockchain. So, um, once you hit the buy link, because once you tag it, you have to push the buy link for it to go on the internet. So it will probably be like, I guess, however long you use it. But typically, I think it would only cost $1, $1.50 or something like that. And it would go into the web page, the Web3 web page that I built. So you would keep your ticket that you paid, your receipt. It's like a digital ticket. And anytime you go to that web URL, you just type it in and it'll bring up what you did. And, it probably won't have the GPS or like the satellite or the map or anything, but you get to look at the scribbles. And it'll be online. So if you want to hand down like your routes, or you can actually get a map and you can put a map over. Like if you had a 50-inch, get a transparent printout of a map or something. You can put it up there. Just I think corny fun stuff. Or like I say, you got a little girl, she's tagging it on the windshield. That goes through, you hit the buy link, and then you put in the digital receipt, and she probably traced the whole thing there, and it looks like Monsters Inc. But we were pitching it to the Lexus for that to get and you use the data for that. It'll even show like where it was jumpy and stuff like that, the ride, and it will go along with if you drove with the GPS. And like I said, I watched the future car. They had one sweet looking car, man. It looked almost alien, like a spaceship. The back of it, it looked like what's behind me, but it's more like in this kind of class. That's what's behind. This was a rough copy of what I did. This was made with Codex or Perplexity. No, Codex. The original one is a whole lot more defined, and I did that, I think, with Copilot. It's more realistic looking. This one, I know doesn't look as realistic, but if you stare at it, it does. But I just need to smooth out some corner. But this is generally what I was trying to get from the original picture that I drew. The one that I originally drew and put in the Copilot, it made like, I don't know, it's insane. But I got a few of them, and so the one that I seen with Lexus is like they only were showing like, and somebody probably AI'd it, but it still was pretty sweet. So anyway, that whole thing we cloned it to the other one, but we're doing the first stage of it first, where we clone them and we take them apart. So in the other one, they're like a grapevine, so it's like interconnecting with each other. So we are taking them apart. I've already cloned them, and I use Devin. So I cloned them over and took out all of the sensitive and secret stuff like passkeys and OAuths and just everything that allows this web service to actually run the codes. So those came out. I took those out, but they're still over in the original one. But moved over to this one where I call the holdings. I separate them, make public repos for them. So what you're reading in the description is, because at first I was like, all right, we're just gonna put code in there and we can just run a marketplace. So my AI was like, slow down, marketplace not a store, it's a distribution. So for automation, so like it's just different. It's not a store, but uh, I mean, I work with it. I take the class, so I'm familiar how it works. So we got the whole thing staged and set up now because we went back. So we watched a few videos on YouTube. We came across that 500 billion that I was talking about with video, and so we're taking our codes now. We're gonna watch it again, and we're gonna get out exactly what they're doing, and then we are going to change our codes to market monetize. So, but and before we do that, we got to set up all of the repos. So we got a lot of stuff to do to them. Let's see, uh, we have to do the architect, and that's folders, modules, workflows, documentation. Second, we got to build the core OSS version, public repo with usable features. So, and then, so like since we have it already on private and we coexist them, the private one will be the architect modules, workflows, and then because they're just general universal kind of codes. I mean, they're really serious codes, but they're just general codes, and I made them specifically for problems, not like codes to do one thing. So it's like affiliate marketing. Their problem was payouts for affiliates. So when I build the app, your kid comes along and they go, I want to use this app. It says if I sell stuff for other companies that I get a cut of it. So then when you do that, it's like they come back to me and I'd be like, you're gonna have to wait or stuff like that. And they'll be on the other end like, yo, give me my money. So they go back to the parents and it's a whole big deal. But what I did was I built a synthetic thing where you realize I told you the blockchain where there's the reserve. So USDE is like, like computer money. So I could pay them in USDE while it waits for the affiliates to clear. Because even though they sell it, it has to still clear. That could be 1 day to 1 week, or it could be hours, it could be minutes, it could be seconds. But since that was the problem, it just kind of stumbled because I was researching the USD. So when I got to that and we were building the codes for the affiliate marketing, and then we started working with the synthetic things because we were doing something. And it was like, you can use this for payouts for the marketing, solving the problem, and there you have your solution. But yet this synthetic is to work inside of the crypto market on the blockchain. So it's not specifically designed for payouts. So that's kind of pretty much that's the same thing, but it's like with this you're doing architect and folders and stuff like that, where those sensitive and private things they have to stay on a private repo. So right now they're already private, and when and so I made the public one. So this is understanding, and it's not I don't know what I'm talking about. I seriously do. So one's keeping it private, the second one's public. So but I'm still synthesizing that because I kind of worked out the scheme. So build the GitHub actions. That's the marketplace thing I was talking about. So these are actually using GitHub's tools. So that's a must that you have to go through. But like in instance, like I don't really know how to use actions, and what is it? There was another one, but we would say automation, but workflows are, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know what they are, I'm familiar with them. I don't really know exactly where they're at and how to use them, but I'm just familiar with, because I took the class twice. So I'm not sketchy about it. I know they're there, and I know that I know how to use them. So right now we're going to tell AI to tell me how to do it. So when I go back to my class and they're going over it, I'll get an A. But that's what GitHub Actions is. Build a SAS backend. So that's kind of like the architect. The SAS is like a software. So I have my web service. So, once all that's done, I get plugged up into it. So that's kind of like how the monetizing thing works. The enterprise edition. So that's kind of just taking everything and saying, well, it's not for the little guy. It's not for the consumer. It's for the enterprise, the small business owner, or medium business owner, or corporate owner. But we are not going to be scaling this like this. We're just building it because since I did, however, to take my Microsoft course and I have the other three, when I went back to my school and had to sit with my IT to get my passwords and stuff, I logged in, so it pulled up my classrooms again. So I got more time to work at them now. And with that, I get to work at them, and at the same time work at this. So I'm really good. I'm really, really good. So just taking my classes and putting it together is just, something that you just, this is the final, it's like the threshold. Like I shot myself at the gates of heaven and asking, am I being let in? Like I'm at that point in my life, like not shooting myself. I mean, I was just saying that, because I'm so dope. So if like someone killed me, it'll be like, it's totally different. But when this is like actually complete, we are gonna move it over to my students' careers to credits portal, or credits to careers. So I'm trying to dig through my student portal. It's either my student system or my credits to careers, but one of them allows employers or recruits to chime in on your projects, your portfolio, and things like that. I believe so. It needs a password to do that. So we're going to be doing that as well, so that we can have something along with our professional or technology portfolio or professional website. And that will, along with what I was trying to take the exam for, is enough that, still keeps me at entry level. But if I pass my other exams, I'm going to have to challenge myself and probably go into that sector, like the IT sector. But, I get to try to get away from it. I mean, because it is a rigorous thing learning, but I'm in the entrepreneurial phase, and I don't want to be seen because it's not that I don't want to obligate myself to 10 years with the company so that I can befriend my venture. It's just that the world's going to shit, to be honest, and I rather just shoot for a billion and find a mountain like everybody else did to get on and watch the shit. But other than that, it's entry level admin and you know uh, get the few grand that I need to get a lawyer and keep a few on retainer. With this going the way that it's going, if I cop that trill, then I'll be able to hire a lawyer before I even get there for 100 mil. But we're waiting to see. And um, that's kind of the enterprise edition. It's just those are the serious people that you're, trying to uh, use your product. So using my holdings and these different companies. So I'm making features for them. So right now they're just like the computers inside of companies that don't have any name on the building. I mean, the name's on the door is an empty warehouse like kind of thing. No desk. I mean, it looks like a Fight Club when they go in and it's like a Ponzi scheme and it's just telephones. So that's when it's kind of like being built. It's like just the codes. So I took it from my ecosystem and we're gonna change them up to where I made them to work, with like with the problem, but the vast majority of just the variables. And so when I actually monetize these, like stake in the cross, uh, it will have like what do you say? It will have visibility, trust, adoption, public footprint, a way for developers to integrate logic. So that will bring in the floor and the things like that where then I could as the holdings I can transition. This is all right. This is going to be a company that did really good. So this looks like we can do on an enterprise scale. So let's go ahead and pitch this as a startup for one of my holding. I mean, for one of the companies in my holdings, and see how it does as a startup on its own while I license my holdings, so it's still owned by me, but I pitch it out as a startup, but not my holdings. And then whatever I get back, I hire programmers, computer scientists, just the actual people that I need to sustain the structure that it had actually obtained while I monetized it. So those small computers, I just only may put out for probably a month's 5 months endorsement, where the pays, uh, on a high scale for what it is with this startup business, and reaching your first 10 million, mediocre at that, and that's probably I don't know. 500K a month. So, but that's even bigger than that because when you do enterprise, you're getting paid a lot more. And some of these things you can still. Some of these things are still pretty sizable in return, even open source, and that's just making it public. Uh, You got integrations. That's that rules out 150K deployment, 500 for enterprise. So these things, you got VC funding from just stepping in the door, a $1 to $5 million check or deposit, uh, partnerships. So these things, and I can do all of them, all six of them, which is what I put inside of this theme for to do. Because it's a simultaneity. I know if it does well, I'm gonna put it up for a startup. So that's VCs. So what do I do in the meantime? Taking my classes, take notes, and write my business plan and my proposal and things like that. While you know, um, at the same time building the codes and writing everything that needs the documentation, so the people at the company or individuals actually using it, they go straight for what they're looking for. What did you do? What did you do? And so from that, it's something that I don't need to wait until I finish school to come back over it and things like that. Or just already be sitting at the table with the lawyers that I got, telling them to, get a SOC 2 compliance, things like that. And this allows, corporate owners to validate codes and stuff. I mean, validate your work, or someone that I mean, I'm not too familiar with what it is, but it's just being able to say that you're authentic. I guess I still have to do some more digging on that, but I don't know. And so journalism looks like a lot of work, but we're about to do the researching for the different repos because we just sanitized everything. We took out all the secret stuff. So now we got two parts of it now where it was, um, the second part that was, the more sensitive, which was like my logic to it, like the questions I asked AI to build. So it'd be like, um, uh, this is in a different conversation. So, well, we took out three things when we were doing our sanitize because that's what it was about to do. I was like, man, I'm glad I asked because it would have took out a whole lot. That the second part is, or the first is first or second. It's what's going to be in the private folders. So I can't really find it, but um, I forget what they're called. Uh, this is my record. So my bad. We're right here, and um, so it's config files, module extract modules. Um, uh, I think we did modify the config files, but um, So I know one of those modules for sure. The config files, that's we talked about that one later because I went ahead and did that one. It put placeholders or values between those, and the placeholders and the values were something that I had to ask. Like, you were supposed to be sanitizing while you do anything like that, but it was basically saying that it didn't actually delete the config files and stuff. It just took out the secret credentials and just added placeholders like instructions, kind of like for what it's to be there. Well, I thought it was in here, and I can't see where it's at. It's somewhere more along those lines. I don't want to go through the whole conversation. It's something I could do typing it in, but hit it. So we kept those because those were the money makers for me. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move those over. And man, this whole time yesterday, I thought my valuation network repo was where I kept my synthetic codes, but it's actually where I keep my documents. And I can't get into any of them because they're downloads of Microsoft. But oh yeah, that's why I did. Yeah, no, never mind. I forgot about that. So I linked up Microsoft and Entra ID and Azure. So when I apply the documents on my website, that is a Microsoft document. Never mind. But anyway, while I was cloning it and doing all this troubleshooting, it was taking forever. I was like, why is this taking forever? And I just went back to go look at it. It's all Microsoft documents. I was like, anyway, but kind of scared me. I was like, what is this here for? Why do I have a bunch of Microsoft documents and stuff? So, but I see why they're there. So, um, you know, but these were the ones we're going to keep on the private repos. And this is what I was talking about with the one and the plugging it into the public repos. But we created a successful scheme for building a holdings entity, and to feel good about it and things like that is just understatement. So, um, you know, bringing this to a close. But yeah, so we just had to do this little vlog to say what's up and tell you what's going on, and how everything's cool, and we're getting ready to start the start of our ending in life, and hopefully it works out. Hopefully it turns out good. Especially with our classes and everything. Trying to say my prayers and everything because I watch a lot of people in their startups, man. They're like riding around in really nice cars and really nice homes, and have their own offices and stuff like that. And I get tired. I'm like, and it's not even caring that it's a Lambo and it's a condo and it's um, a 4,000 feet square foot suite or 4,000 square foot suite. So it's just like I gotta bring this up so that even if I'm the same person, it's just gonna fall on it, and I'm gonna be like, time to go jump in my Apollo, like boom. So that's just really what life is. That's how it should. It's not chasing how corrupt it's gotten because these codes that I felt like somebody was walking around, they can go to AI and do all this themselves. They don't have what ethics supply. So if you're listening to me or watching, always follow ethics. Always keep with ethics. All of this stuff is really good stuff because I chose to use ethics. One of the things that I had to do because it was taught to me in my IT database major, because the database controls a lot. And, you don't want to start out planning a world where you're going to be unfair to people. One is Not that I'm saying it's not learnable, but you know, you're not gonna have any power. I mean, all this stuff that I'm gonna know, I'm gonna be a sheer genius. But when I start taking black hat um, lessons, then I mean, just to watch my back, because if it wasn't there, then I wouldn't need to. I'd just be like chill about it. But it's there to me. I think it's there. So you know, I don't want to change my YouTube profile from a gun. I'm gonna go get a black hats um, identity or whatever they're called, and you know, start blogging, start shooting back with massive transparency. Because we're the good guys. The bad guys are the good guys that are the bad guys. So, but then introduce you to my project app. So we're trying to do that, optimize it for middle schoolers and high schoolers, and college, of course, and working at those levels. So it's like a little Boo. It's called Boo. It's got the little ghosts and stuff, and it's like your selector. We're using a Rubik's cube kind of network, and we're trying to put that together. So that's got to go on our holdings right now. Our holdings have 24 repos. Um, the C-Suite, the gaming app, the 11 that I cloned, and the 11 that were cloned, the private, they were made 11 public. And we got to bring over two more. That's the Boo app. I mean, the Boo project builder platform. And then there's the Kinetic Ledger. That's got to come over. But we got to go find that and dig that out of our AI somewhere, because we have to hack our Google developers tools and even move that over into incognito to write on Web3, to write on the internet. So, but, so that's going to make a total of 26. And that's huge. Not to mention in my other repo, I got the entire ecosystem plugged up to one of them. So we got to clone that whole thing. And then we got to find some way to get it into the enterprise, the agentic C-suite repo. And then we got to do the organization where we're plugging up our public repos to that and keeping our private repos, or plugging up our private repos or whatever. Then we got the collaborations. So, but thanks for watching. Didn't mean to take up you guys' time. I try to keep the same time that I've been recording at, anywhere from a half hour to an hour, just because it's vlogging. I think we need to come up more and start talking more online. I watch a lot of people, they're only vlogging for like 15, 10 minutes, and you're telling me about your lifestyle. What am I going to get in 10 minutes? Trying to do startup. Sit on the jump for an hour. Okay, I might not watch it. I might be laying back in my bed or something on my futon. I might be well, when I'm working, I'll watch it for an hour. I'll turn it on for an hour. So, if you're in this and you're doing, just stay on track, man. Like, just keep filming. Like, just try to use words. I'm trying to use more of my vernacular. So if you're so good, you got, if y'all like all this success and stuff, just use some words. I don't, the cursing, I guess, is okay. I particularly don't want to use it. I did before because, like I said, it's just a kind of shot the shit kind of world. So, unless I see a change, then I'll then broadcast that. But, trying to get through it where I'm doing the same thing I'll be doing on the other side. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but for what it's worth, that you're over here, I don't want to know about, anything that it requires to the life, and I just want to know, your KPIs, your just talk, and I gotta downwards and enroll in general studies. and start those learning principles all over, so that when I actually go talk to people, hell, I might even take it back to high school. But these things, I prefer to keep the same literacy, so that I can listen to someone for an hour. It's an obligation, something that I don't want to be thinking. You're doing your blog for stuff 100 grand worth of product in your Lexus just to make an IPO. So you know, and I'd rather hear some of these people talk about how it's brutal, because now I'm building this with repos and its codes. I just may be able to come through and help, and just maybe I may be get something in return, and it doesn't have to be favors and hands out. It's just a friend I could have gained, or I mean a client I could have gained, that would be long term. So, and then, like I said, that's footprints, uh, visibility. So those things are really important, because a lot of these people that I see do these things, they're hesitant with, those kind of incentives, because they have to go up to the podium. So, unless they end up like Google with 4 billion on IPO sale, or IPO, or 4 trillion, whatever it was. That's just the sad part about it. So, but I set myself up where I don't have to do that, but I still want to play in the game, because even still, I can do all of this. I can, see at least what it's about. That way, because I'm using my agentic, my most important one. So this one either will pay me back to get enough equipment to move everything over, so I can really run some cybersecurity, or this one will uh, pay me enough to where I just turn everything on and blow up. So, but yeah, thanks for watching. Be good. I'm about to roll over and turn on some movies. I'm not gonna get to my research till I wake up. Like it's Sunday. When I start researching, then I knew it's gonna have me up here for at least 45 minutes, and then when I start implementing it, it's gonna be anywhere from an additional 45 minutes to 6 hours. It could take probably. I never know, but we know not to, engage, or um, mess with it or anything. So anyway, deuces. Be good. Be safe. Be successful. One.